we have any other visitors other than Rivka?
Just Rivka.
Okay. Guess we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call. Becky, are you here?
I am.
Tim, are you here? Correct. Doug, are you here?
Correct.
I am here. Rivka, are you here?
Not technically.
Yes, yeah.
Technically, but not technically.
You can talk about, you can state where you're dialing in from and that you won't be voting, I think, for the record.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm here so I can participate in discussion and share any insight, information, etc. that I have, but I'm up north right now for the Region 4 meeting today and the Region 3 meeting tomorrow. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad you could be here for discussion. That's important.
All right. Tim, are you over with a word, please?
Sure. Lord, may we come in this evening hour as we gather here together. Give us what we stand in need of. Bless us with wisdom, a humble heart, and teach us the way that we should go. Forgive all our many sins. This we ask in thy son's name. Amen.
And thank you. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of the last meeting?
Briefly.
So if so, we would like a motion to approve them.
I'll move.
Support?
I'll support it.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Now approval of the agenda. Is it what we need? Is there any additions or subtractions?
Yeah, the only thing that changed since you've seen it is you'll notice the yellow part. Sharcy had her family emergency. So she will not be here, but there is still, we need to talk about civil rights responsibilities for NRCS partners. So we'll be covering that when we get to that segment.
So we're adding this or you're adding this?
Adding,
Okay.
and we're removing her highlight because she's not available.
All right. Public comment. Oh, I suppose we ought to approve the agenda, although, we need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Any support? Or all those in favor? You do have to vote on it, yes. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
We are approved. Public comment. No public tonight. Staff reports. So we don't have Sharcy as far as our highlighted.
Nope.
Has anybody got any questions on any of the other staff reports? That you had in your packet?
I did, but I gotta pull them up. Is it Kyle the one that was
right.
something about, the retirement plan?
It was Tracy, I think, wasn't it?
Said they can only put so much money in.
The MERS comment? Maybe it wasn't Tracy. Maybe it was Alex.
Alex, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tracy had comments for promoting programs and.
You put something in there, didn't
Yeah, I believe so.
you? So it was like, you could only put in a certain amount of money?
There was a question or a
I
comment.
gotta sit over here, I just can't hear.
I overread that.
So did you have a question, Alex, or?
Please consider signing up for MERS. Currently, staff cannot adequately save for retirement with a private IRA because the yearly contributions are capped so low. $7,000 a year in 2024. I think this is an ongoing request from
Yeah,
staff
I'm just gonna put
generally.
it on
Yep,
next
just
month.
re-upping that so that we can look into retirement benefits
Yeah,
for staff.
knowing that, yeah, you guys had a lot on the plate, so,
Mhm.
but. Yeah, reminder.
Who do we need to take that? Is that I guess that's kind of an.
Well, that's something Natalie's been talking to us about too, but
It's,
you guys don't even put near that amount in, right?
It's 5% currently, but it's a
Right.
stipend.
Right.
Rivka asks if we are fully participating in the CEDAM options. I don't know what
We're
that-
not participating in MERS, we're participating fully in the healthcare
Mhm.
CEDAM options.
You were gonna check into once if they could individually do it or something like that.
Yeah, I've
I
been,
know you've got a lot going
yeah,
on.
I've been talking to the MERS representative, and working on what options there are. I provided the survey to the staff about retirement benefits, I just genuinely did not think I could bring that to you guys until at least October with the end of fiscal year and annual
Mhm.
reviews and everything.
Right.
that.
I just seen.
So you got a handle on it? We don't need to kick it over to HR?
A few times.
Yeah, I mean, she's talked about it, but I mean, as far as to get an answer and theoretically put it to bed one way or the other. I mean, is it something?
It's not ever.
I'm
get
gonna,
put to bed.
I'm gonna hopefully be able, this is my plan, I'm gonna hopefully be able to bring 3 options to you. The finance committee and the HR committee, and then eventually hopefully the board. And that will be when you can make your decision on that.
Okay.
If that
Got our
works.
best people on it now.
Got their people on it.
Uh,
It ain't an easy one.
We gonna jump right into your report then?
If you want to do the couple sentence staff highlights that they have, for every month. So where they go around and
Hey.
say a few things. Okay.
I got an idea. Let's go to highlights of what you did this month. Where are we starting?
Start with me.
Perfect.
My highlight is that if you go to our Ottawa Conservation District website, I've been doing some updates. I've recently added, if you go to programs, down to watershed programs, we recently added a page about our water quality monitoring initiative. Just provides a narrative kind of identifying, what we're doing with this monitoring program that we just got funding for, what it's for, what we're doing with the data and things like that. Ben is working on a map that's going to go with this that kind of shows like what type of monitoring we're doing where. So if you guys get questions or calls about people wanting to know more about it, we do have some kind of a basic information about what we're monitoring, all that stuff on our website that you can tell people to go to.
Nice.
Already?
And my last other thing is, I won't share it, but we had a little segment on Wood TV on Thursday. We've had about the irrigation uniformity testing. We shared it to our website and also to our Facebook. So Alex had a little interview, I had a little interview, and interviewed one of the farmers who did irrigation uniformity work with us for one of our programs. And then we have another segment coming out on Wood TV sometime this week. I don't know when, but it'll be at the evening news about our watershed restoration programs, focusing on like soil, no-till stuff. We were in Tim's Fields for it. So
Wow,
that should be
I haven't
out
watched it
sometime
yet.
this
I
week.
knew it was coming out, because I actually was emailing with.
Yeah,
Ellen
it kind of,
about
things
it.
got
I did not
changed kind of last
see it.
minute.
I need to
and
go and look at it.
It is
Am I
on our
the only board
website.
member that has not watched it.
I haven't seen
I
it.
have not. It's channel 8, you said?
But it
Channel
says
8,
in the
Tim
afternoon.
was in it, so you know.
I was not in.
It's on our Facebook. Also, if you go to our website, which I try to keep very updated, so there's a good wealth of
I seen a little
information.
clip, it came through Google News.
Yeah, if you
but
go
That was only the
to,
irrigation part.
yeah, it's only irrigation. They broke it up into
Two
a couple
segments?
of different segments. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't.
So if
see
you
that.
want to watch it, the farmland and water quality conservation program part, I did add it to like recent program on the bottom. So this is a little segment about just specifically the irrigation uniformity stuff. And then the one about our watershed program should be coming up sometime this week. We'll try to send out a text if Ellen just said she wasn't sure exactly, but it's coming out this week.
That's fun. Rivka, did you see it? You probably saw it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It's really
Of
good.
course you did.
So, yeah, so sorry, the dates have kind of been changing on those, so I don't know if we were able to tell everyone ahead of time, but.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I can do mine. I would say the biggest highlight for me is we actually started our monitoring stuff. So we did some road stream crossing survey stuff last week, and then we got to test out our backpack shocking unit. We went out with Aaron Snell, fisheries biologist from Streamside Ecological Services. He actually did the P51, the biological surveys with us when we did the Pigeon River Watershed Management Plan. And he, free of charge, just to help us out, actually came out and did about a half a day with us to kind of give us the tutorial of how to do proper procedure 51, which is the state standards for fish and macro surveys. Showed us the ropes and we got to wade around in Amon Park at Sand Creek. And what did we find? Like probably 15 brown trout, a lot of suckers, a lot of cool stuff. So
No salmon yet?
we found a couple of steelhead, maybe a coho. Nothing big, but things that were probably stocked or
I was trying to pull up a fun photo really fast while Ben was talking. There we go. Here's the shocking unit in action. It's pretty nice looking. So
Works
there's
very
been
well.
using it.
Gathering the same data at every monitoring site that you go to.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, so it's all,
Yeah, there's a whole procedure, you know, you have to monitor the same amount of linear feet and you have a time limit that when you go out there and.
not just for this fish part of it, but like all the monitoring, all the data you're collecting, are you collecting the same data at every site or? is it
No, every
depends on the
watershed's
site
gonna be
because
different.
of
Some,
Yeah.
so
what's
some
occurring
watersheds
there?
will have like B51
Yeah,
done,
like-
some
You
will.
drilling for Montrose?
No, we put them
Forwarding
back.
To,
Lacks of,
What-
you know,
what
if there's a
drives
lack of
that?
data, so like the
Okay,
pigeon, we
what-
did a.
Found a really
When
big
we did the
sucker.
watershed management plan, we did a fish survey a couple years ago, so we probably won't do that again until maybe the very tail end of this 5-year project. Crockery and sand do not have any recent fish data, so we will do a full survey in those watersheds.
is that kind of a adaptive,
Mhm.
like, plan, like what you're gathering where and
Yep.
putting that all together as a part of the whole 5-year deal? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd like to know if you find any trout in Sand Creek.
Yeah, we found a couple,
That used to
again, little
be-
steelhead.
Yeah.
Little like
Used to
fry.
be huge. Used to be
Probably
huge.
found, yeah.
Yeah, we found at least 2 or 3 little steelhead, rainbows, whatever, a
Browns.
It used to be brown trout.
lot of browns.
Yeah, we found browns.
Yeah.
But I'm saying steelhead trout too, though, we found some of those.
Great.
Um,
Do you guys
I-
do anything today?
I can go. I had the opportunity finally to go to the Farm Bureau meeting, so we first went to the picnic. Then Sarah and I went and spoke there briefly, and then I went to the meeting that I think was the very next week was their monthly meeting. And then I made a connection with the person we're getting trees from for a tree sale, some of the bigger trees.
Ken Prince.
And friends.
We're doing big ones this year. It's exciting.
So you can
Yeah,
sell
we're gonna
individual
see
trees.
Like
And
the
then
bigger
we'll have
ones that
some
we
bigger,
get ones.
some bigger.
And they were on consignment too, right?
Yeah, we don't have to pay for
Yeah.
them unless we
Yeah.
sell them.
And he's delivering them
That's
to
nice.
us.
Big deal.
We're just attaching tractors to some trailers and gonna take them to Rangers for us.
Cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's taking.
It's very nice.
Tracy making the connections. She's good at that.
Yeah.
Other than staff appreciation, of course, was a highlight. I had a site visit.
Did you
last-
win something else again, to some big award, I mean, for this staff appreciation, I mean? is that-
No, not this time,
Okay,
unfortunately, yeah. But last week I had a site visit and it was very eventful. It involved like a mini motorcycle and trying Thurgoard and lots of learning curves, so it was fun and it was late in the evening, but so it was cool at least.
RCPP is full bore right now. All the projects, it feels like, that we contracted over the last 2 years are installing practices as we speak. So cool to see conservation going on the ground. We're working with, I think, 5, maybe 6 landowners to get paid for things before the end of the fiscal year. So got a lot of paperwork to wrap up over the next week or so, but things are going really well in that regard. We got engineering teams available, providing answers. Landowners are working well with their contractors, and so far, not too many hiccups.
did you heard, where we went on the compost tour, the barn, Noble, Melody B.
Is that the one that-
Saturday night, or
It's
this past weekend?
Is that the one that lost the dog?
Yes, didn't lose
No, cattle.
animals or anything, but they lost the family dog, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all of that old barn, the whole cattle barn. They said everything, I haven't talked with Josh the morning after it happened, but it's like everything behind the store. So took out 5 barns and
What happened? Don't know.
started the machine shed, so.
Oh, fire. No.
Something or other,
Yikes.
but yeah, it took,
I hope their insurance.
so, yeah, but anyway, that's. Great. So,
Well, thanks for telling me that. I didn't know that. I'll have to check in.
FarmLink, I know, is having a big. I don't wanna call it
Like
GoFundMe, but it's yeah, you can donate
Okay,
to FarmLink, through FarmLink to the Melody Bee Farm.
I'll look into that. Thank you.
That brings us to, do we wanna wait as far as the executive director report till the end? Because you cover a lot of these other things, do you not? Is that the best place for it at the beginning? What do you feel? I often thought that.
I don't care. This month.
sometimes we touch on a lot of what's in your report.
Yeah,
throughout our-
this month I
Boulevard.
left out like my work on any of the truck stuff for that bullet point with that in mind.
Oh, all
So
right.
I
Well,
didn't really.
Go ahead with your report.
Yeah, well, that's really funny. This month I finalized the fiscal year 25 budget and the operations budget. So I guess I didn't do that great. I met with the auditor again and I've been talking to her, although she still has not called me back. So like I had mentioned, we can't reconcile our bank account right now until I get a hold of her and find out how to move forward. Some of the stuff she has done and there has made it so the system won't let us.
They're showing less cash than what we actually have,
It's,
right?
yeah, it says,
What, like QuickBooks
yeah,
reconciliation? like-
yes,
Okay.
correct.
I see.
QuickBooks numbers like crazy and that it won't, unless you account for everything in the number that it says, you can't reconcile your account. And so until I get a hold of her, I can't even honestly explain, so I've
Okay.
been trying to call her. I updated all the staff work agreements and we conducted all the annual reviews with Becky and Rivka, which we can talk again about later. I helped coordinate the working group for NRCS that we had this afternoon, and I think given some last minute changes, it still was pretty successful, so that was really great. I had reviews with MDARD on our a couple of our grants. The most interesting was our operational grant. Overall, it was really positive. And Jack seemed to think that Ottawa and the grand scheme was like we hit exceeding expectations on a lot of the markers that they review you on. A couple of things that came out of that was that we need to post our FOIA policy on our website, which I have on my list to do, very easy fix. We need to create a policy that just has the terminology of at will versus just cause. Was one thing he recommended. He recommended we review our discrimination and Family Medical Leave Act policies as well. Just to make sure that we're covering all of our bases. But other than that, it was actually a pretty positive meeting and I felt like I learned a lot, like you and I went through that and I had to end up writing all those laws and that was really informational.
You did read through all of
I
those?
read every single one of them.
Oh, my word.
I also have been working on ordering our trees for our next spring tree sale. It's been a bit of a juggling act, but I think by the end of this week they'll all be ordered, so that'll be good. It'll be good to go. My only need from you guys currently is I need your sweatshirt sizes before you leave tonight, please.
That's pretty low bar.
It's a pretty low bar.
All right.
I
That's
can do
it.
that in one night.
Just add that to your to-do list.
That's-
Yeah.
To your list.
Maybe by the end of the week, you think?
Well, I'll try.
Okay, good work.
You have any questions for me?
I'm sure she'd speak, but Rivka, you have anything so far?
She says, thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Can she can voice in with us, can't she? Or
She
no?
can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can. I'm just trying to not like make a bunch of added noise. So
No, that's fine. I just. was-
trust
I thought-
me, there's something I really need to speak on. I will.
Keep an eye on
Didn't
that.
think we had to ask you to speak. Rivka. Just was curious if you could.
I am fully capable. Yes.
It's like, is
All
this
right.
broken? Why isn't she talking?
Yeah. Is this thing on? All right, that brings us up. Is there any other questions for Natalie? We all good? Perfect. That brings us up to your civil rights responsibilities for partners.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
I did read this as well. I'm gonna do my best. Sharcy was gonna speak on this. But NRCS is required. It's the loose thing in your packet, cause I got it late, so I couldn't send it to you.
Yes.
Yep, she's hefty, but it'll be okay, don't worry, Tim. NRCS is required to deliver the civil rights and equal opportunity requirements and information with all of its partners or institutions that administer USDA programs or federally assisted programs.
So by partners, does that mean Ottawa County Conservation District, or does it mean who we are?
Means Ottawa County
Okay.
Conservation District. So they provided us with a checklist to assist with us understanding and guide us in our civil rights responsibilities and the expectation between NRCS and partners. So some board membership responsibilities is to annually review the MOA for between NRCS and Ottawa Conservation District. The one that we actually have is between us and MDARD, I'm pretty sure. I don't know that OCD has one specifically. At least I have not read it or come across it.
I know we've done these in the past, but I don't know which one.
Which MOA are you
We
referring
may
to?
have
There's an
workshop.
agreement between
That's all.
NRCS and MDARD about our roles and responsibilities as conservation districts within their programs.
I think we.
And I've read it, but I've never seen one like between OCD specifically. It's between MDARD and NRCS.
Mm.
In our,
Okay, I'm just picturing
what's the
the
word? I don't know, in our stead, I guess.
NRCS agreements between us and NRCS. I'm not familiar with that.
Our responsibility is to review it annually, so I can get you a copy of that. It is also our responsibility, to record board demographic information, which we do through our, actually inadvertently through our NACD grant. We have a survey that we do every year on staff and board demographics. We are prohibited of disclosing certain information by USDA and its cooperators. And of course, new and existing partners are always invited to attend NRCS sponsored civil rights training. In this packet, you will see a list of, it's basically posters that need to be present in our building. They all are. Kelly went through this checklist and we just executed a federal grant, which required me to also make sure a lot of these things were in place. So it was kind of perfect timing to learn more about it. In this packet, you will see the USDA Civil Rights Policy Statement, alternative dispute resolution policy, so how to file a dispute, anti-harassment. All of these things are pretty much covered, a lot of it in our personnel policy, but also is all posted within our building. Do you guys have any questions about that? If you get to the very end, it's the posters that have to be posted.
No, but I can tell you who we did this for. We did it with Heather.
Yes,
NRCS.
NRCS is, I think, supposed to provide this to
We
you,
did it
but
with
here.
her. We did a workshop.
Yeah, she's done training with us before.
Yeah.
We have to sign off tonight, right? If
Yes,
you're not
and I
assigned,
have it,
you just
I have
to-
it for you. Did I miss anything, Becky, from you?
I have a lot
talking?
more words than I would have said.
All right,
But
well,
that's what
there,
Kelly said.
there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Long-winded.
sorry. So I'm
I
gonna
didn't mean
pass,
it in a bad way. I'm just saying, nope, I don't have any
I'm sure
words.
we understand.
I'm gonna pass I don't take it that way. I'm gonna pass this around and I would like you to sign by your name, but hey, 2 for 1, also write your size on a sticky note.
Wow, talk about efficiency.
Nope, you have a pen.
That's part of discrimination if you put my size on their paper.
It's anonymous, Tim.
Okay.
I don't identify with that.
Thank you, Matt.
And with that sign, we're done with that.
That's all I have to say,
Okay.
unless there's questions. But I don't,
I have a small question.
okay,
I'm not a sweatshirt person.
okay.
Can I just get a t-shirt or two?
I can find you a t-shirt potentially. You're getting a Conservation Starts Here t-shirt.
That's good.
Okay, sounds good. I already have your size then. Yeah, does your wife want one?
Not a sweatshirt person?
All right. In Michigan?
That's all my work.
What are you wearing, Steph?
Yeah, mine too.
I was gonna say,
The hoodies.
Yeah.
anywhere I go.
I'd say
get a
they're crew neck
sweatshirt, oh my
sweaters, they're
gosh,
not
you're the
hoodies.
happiest person in the world.
We've already
She's got
done-
mountain up,
Thank
like
you,
every-
Thank you.
You didn't share your noodles?
There you go, Buster. Keep it up.
Ask and you shall receive.
Thank you,
Well,
guys.
with that, we will
Appreciate it.
move on to Human Resource Committee. HR Committee Meeting Report.
Am I doing that part? Is that how it works?
Sure,
You were
that would
Rivka.
be great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to, I just. that's
Well,
what
I mean, Becky, I guess like, this is our fault. We should have collaborated ahead of time, but we can probably just kind of both, speak to the employee evaluations that we attended broadly, just summarize. Like, I'm happy to share from the ones that I, went to, and you can share from the ones you went to and do the general HR report if you want to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we were doing it, not Natalie. So since you're unmuted, you fire away and I'll fill in whatever gaps you leave.
Okay. So we were, Becky and I divided up the work of doing the employee evaluations. She kind of did half and I did half. It's always great. I always really enjoy getting to hear kind of all of the things on a more detailed level that staff are doing, above and beyond what we kind of hear in the monthly meetings. Overall, my takeaway is that for the most part, our staff is doing a really, really good job. They're, learning, growing, improving consistently year over year. We did give them an opportunity to kind of share some of their thoughts, concerns. Definitely, none of this will be a really big surprise to anybody, but absolutely benefits continue to be a concern, and making sure that there are adequate benefits for employees. And, I think that's a really important piece of compensation is to make sure that we do that. So I definitely would recommend that we keep that kind of on our radar as far as finding creative ways to have benefits. And generally speaking, just feeling support from the board, that the board really understands like the complexity of what they're doing and kind of is able to provide the support in all areas that they need. So obviously everyone is really happy that Becky is on the board. She's doing great. Thank you, Becky.
No. Just kidding. Sorry,
So that's an upside, so that's fantastic. But yeah, those were kind of my big picture takeaways from the employee reviews. There were no major areas of concern, just continual improvement. I think definitely we should come back to this conversation once HR has had time to review it in more depth about professional development and make sure we're continuing to provide opportunities for our staff to continue to learn and grow and develop their skills. Like they're doing a great job on their side of it, but part of that is on us as well too, to provide those opportunities and resources for them to continue doing that. So yeah, that's my takeaways from my side of the employee reviews.
Thank you very much. Yes, so other notes from an HR committee standpoint, we do have a meeting set to continue reviewing policies and cleaning up and addressing and all that. Professional development is one of them. I think it all ties back to our ability to the best of the lean operating quasi-government nonprofit-like entity meet
Was a
the needs
mouthful
of the
about.
employees, and professional development and being able to support, that's one of those things. So I think working towards that is a good goal. I really did enjoy sitting on the employee reviews. Pretty sure I did not do half of them. But as I sat there, I thought, why is it only HR doing this? I think all the board members should sit in on some because you get to watch our executive director interact with her staff. And you get to, no offense or anything, you get to evaluate her in action and you get to be face to face with how she interacts with the employees, how the employees interact with her. It's all great stuff. So maybe in the future, all the board members, you know, kind of divide up employee reviews and sit in on it, because, you know, we're here once a month and we're not as engaged as we, you know, would like to be, and that's just a good opportunity to get to know people a little bit better and hear how they feel about stuff, so I don't have a lot to add beyond what Rivka already said, but continuing to work on policies, trying to elevate the ones that have been brought up of concern and work to better those, and employee reviews are good, and I think we could all share in that next year, just because it's a good experience, so that's just something to consider, and I don't think I have anything else in terms of.
I agree with that part, because I did it last year and it was
Yeah.
nice on the one-on-one, a little, maybe a little more, especially with the newer ones, they get to know you too.
Yeah, because there's that, you know, there's that line between, you know, we're board members, and we need to engage and know and understand and be able to support, but not micromanaging. With the staff this big, it's hard to get to know everybody how you want to, but not, you know, slip into a micromanage role, so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's just a nice opportunity, so that's it. Too much blabbing. Done, now we need to vote on things. Do I call for the votes, or are you calling for the votes? Are you calling for the votes? You're the chairman, you call for the votes.
What was it new?
Did you get a little?
Sounds like she just
I don't know,
ordered
I
you to
think
call
it's
for the
a-
Energy drinks you must have just drank. What's in
She's
that?
got-
What's in the noodles?
I was gonna say she's double fisted over here, but anyways,
She's got the coffee and.
if it's okay with you, I'll call for a vote. on this.
Amazing, Mr. Chair.
Do we, yeah, do we have any,
I do.
I got some questions.
that's what I'm getting to that, so yes, is there any questions on the work? Actually, we should
We have
have
to make a
a,
motion for
Yeah,
it.
we
get
should
the
have a
on the
motion
floor.
to.
Oops.
There you go again. Start calling you Roger. Can I get a motion to talk, to vote on the work agreements? I need a motion.
Vote
Come
on
on,
it.
somebody's gotta do it. I'm not there.
We need a motion
For what?
to vote,
To discuss.
well,
I
we
move-
need a motion, then we can discuss said motion, so we need a motion to vote.
I move to approve the work agreements included in the packet.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Is there any discussion? Tim?
Just a couple questions.
I
What-
feel like I need a friendly amendment to my motion, or my motion, but
I wanted to say, because we were on one bullet, but when we got to work agreements, I wanted to say there have been edits to these, but they have been like in what Matt is signing, there have been edits, but they are things like, for example, Karen, who is a MEP technician, said that she was funded by RCPP in hers. So I edited that. Doug brought to my attention that a full-time grant employee was actually a district employee. So there have been edits to them, but it has all been in line with what is actually correct.
so make a friendly amendment
what
to my
is in
motion to
here
be
is wrong with
contingent
what's in
upon
yours.
the administrative.
Yes, and I'm happy to go through
Revisions.
each of them and tell you exactly what I changed, if that pleases.
Does your question have anything to do with that?
I don't think so.
That's
Alright.
okay. I just wanted to
Okay.
make that clear,
That's-
because I didn't know if it mattered with the way that she made the motion.
Perfect.
Okay, so just a second. The motion that is here is for the, because that is kind of confusing as to. So not the ones in our packet, but the master, we'll
The
call it the
right.
master sheet. Is that
Yeah.
the best word for it?
agreements.
Sure.
Yeah, the work
So-
agreements.
The final mark.
Contingent on.
Does anybody need to see the difference between what was shown to us and what actually is going to be?
I'm happy to do it.
Is that
I
a,
was gonna ask a question when it's my turn.
Okay.
Tim, what are your questions?
I need a little education. What is a committee payment?
Yeah. A committee stipend is what you guys, we used to have bonuses, but we didn't, the word bonus in government is not really appropriate. So instead, the staff last year, you guys created committees, so all district events, not all, but a lot of the district events now have a committee that the staff can choose to sit on and help with. And genuinely, without those committees, this district would not be functioning at the way that it is. So they're getting paid for doing that extra work outside of their program.
Just saying, everyone. $500.
So every employee gets a committee payment or every committee member gets a committee? payment?
Every employee sits on a committee,
Multiple committees.
multiple.
We got rid of the bonuses.
Okay.
Then we gave out big bonuses and we decided everybody gets $500. That's it.
So, but help me understand,
That
in
was
most
kinda-
institutions, there's differences in bonuses on your,
We're not doing a bonus.
well, but it's kind of a bonus or not.
There were
Theoretically, we
some
used to do
differences.
that layered or level, different levels,
Correct.
and we got some feedback from outside about, you know, you guys are giving some pretty hefty bonuses.
Mhm.
So we wanted to, for lack of, you know, get rid of that line item, theoretically line item, but the bonuses were a fair amount of their pay so we just went this way with it. And for simplicity, just knocked everybody to the, you know, to the same level.
Okay,
So
But
somebody's been here 5 years, 10 years, somebody's been here 6 months. Type are all,
so now that I understand what it is, here's my next question. Are we all winners, whether we won or whether we didn't?
everybody is on a committee, so
So
they're,
everybody's a winner?
so I guess it's a trophy because you showed up.
Everyone is doing the work, so they're being compensated for the work that they're doing.
That's all we do.
Okay. Next question. The 5 and 7% thing, it kind of goes in the same vein.
Mhm.
Are we just rewarding people because they show up for work? Or are we rewarding people because of their diligence, their expertise, their commitment, their,
So the 5 and 7% have to do with the benefits that we are able to provide at this time. So if you are here under a certain number of years, you get 5% of your pay towards your healthcare and 5% of your pay towards retirement.
I get that.
I think
Merit based.
it's not merit-based, it's a
benefit.
benefit that I
benefit.
think is valuable. I think where you see that tier that goes up to 7%, I believe you guys originally had put that in to encourage longevity.
Right.
Because it encourages people to stay longer to get that 7%. I don't know that it's appropriate for benefits to be merit-based, because it is
So.
a benefit, but I understand what you're
Then what
saying
is?
about-
Is the pay the
like
only
a-
merit-based?
It's quasi government. There's very few things that are merit based in government,
But that's what's wrong with government.
but those are what the rules are. I can't get a bonus at Ottawa.
Who's
County.
making the
I don't
rules?
get
Are we like
bonuses.
Congress? Are we voting ourselves a raise whether we worked or whether we didn't?
Well, I
know.
don't think there's any, I don't think there's any discussion about the fact that all of our employees are doing an exceptional job. So, then that becomes a management issue, right? Like if there's an employee that is underperforming, then there are steps to be able to take to correct that action. I think all of our staff are performing exceptionally well. And if there's concerns, they can be dealt with on a disciplinary measure. If you want to get into the employment psychology of it, monetary bonuses aren't actually very effective in establishing performance anyway. What leads to a high performing culture is a culture of teamwork, a culture of dedication to the cause, and all of those things I think are things that we have in abundance at our district, and I'm really thankful for.
There's something you want to
I'm
propose?
not, I'm not pushing back on that. The naughty kid goes to the principal's office, but the good kids stay in this classroom, but there's A students, B students, C students, and D students. The D student does not get the same reward as an A student.
Is there something specific you're referring to that you want to address with this?
No, it's just that everybody's the same. Why are we all the same? We're not all the same. We're all different.
We all have A students. All of our entire staff are A
I don't
students.
agree with that. And if we do have all A students, then somebody's not correcting the papers correctly.
On what
Just because-
basis? On what basis, Tim?
You cannot have 50 students and all be A students, and if they are all A students, somebody's not teaching correctly. Teaching correctly. Somebody's gonna fail and somebody's gonna win. That's how life works.
What do
In
you-
this context, every single employee is a classroom of one. They all have their own specialties, their own areas of expertise, their own things that they're doing. So absolutely, you can have a team such as ours that are all top performers. Like absolutely it's possible. And I think we are really lucky that we have that at our district.
Opposed?
I asked though, what do you wanna see differently in the work agreements that reflects where you're heading with that? Is there something you wanna?
I don't sit on the committees. I'm not
That's all right.
involved, I'm
I
not
mean,
involved on a day-to-day basis.
What, what are you thinking you might wanna see in that?
Somebody on this team is gonna be a winner more than everybody on the team. That person needs to get rewarded differently than the one that's just showing up for work, and I don't know who that is, you people do.
To be fair, we didn't give out any rewards this year. No one received raises.
Well, I don't know what you call a reward. A $500 check is a reward to me, and if everybody gets 5% on their health and on their benefits, that's a reward. Call it what you want. It's a candy, it's a sucker, it's an A,
An incentive.
it's an incentive.
I mean, it's a basic standard for employment. It's really like the bare minimum in order to get employees. It's not really an extra above and beyond.
I guess I can see somewhat your concern over the committee stipend. Yeah, cause that's a flat one. But again, the 5 and 7%, that's, I'm gonna say is a basic, that goes off their wage. So a higher paid person is gonna, 5% of $10 is.
Yeah,
better than
different than
5% of
5% of
$8.
two, yeah.
So, I mean, so that's kind of curves with their job title. And I'm gonna say, in my simple mind, for simplicity, we did the $500. It seemed to have filled I'm gonna say the problem we had, it fixed the
Cause we did
situation.
we did like the executive director was a top bonus and then trickled down from there.
I remember
Then
them.
we just kind of did it.
I understand your concern, Tim,
Right.
but I really can't give you a,
And I'll
A black
drop it,
and white.
I'll drop it, but our whole society is in this mentality, everybody's winners, everybody gets a sucker, whether you won or whether you didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that life is not work that way.
Well, I mean, we should be fostering an environment where everyone in our
I
team are
understand.
winners. Because if
Yeah.
we don't have a team that all considers themselves winning because we're working on a cooperative basis, all towards conservation, if one person is not being successful, no one is being successful, and then we need to modify something within the team so that everyone can be successful. There's no reason on our team that everyone can't succeed.
Next motion.
Well, I'm gonna
Do you have a question,
reiterate,
Doug?
Mr. Chair, if I can speak for just a minute.
is it to Tim's issue or is it just to,
Yep,
all right,
I understand where you're coming from a private sector. I understand that. But the reality is that we're government.
Done.
It's a reality. It doesn't work the same,
It has
you
to
know.
change, Becky.
It can, it's not gonna start here today and
It starts from the bottom up.
it can start here today. You just put a ripple in the pond, so we're hoping this ripple
Well, I
with,
feel badly that it feels like a very negative ripple. I don't take issue with what your point is. Your point is, I understand what you're saying. I feel like it has some negative connotations in the room and in the organization. But my point is that government, generally speaking, right, wrong, or indifferent, the way that it functions right now, county government employees, local township officials, local township staff, none of them get bonuses. We have a list of pre-prescribed, publicly posted rates of pay that we get that change each year for the same, no matter who you are. There's no merit in that. You have a set amount of benefits that you get, and they're based on this criteria. It's all very prescriptive. In the private sector, you have the ability to make those modifications, but not so much in government. So I just wanted to make that.
we're gonna have to agree to disagree today,
Well-
I get both your points, so, but you ain't changed his mind, he ain't changed.
And I'm
your
not
mind.
trying to, I'm just,
It's-
I feel like an obligation as a
We are-
director to voice.
We're all
my
working
opinion
towards,
equally,
so. With that, we're gonna move on to Doug's question.
yes.
By the way, I'm gonna actually ask you, so this is gonna be general.
Okay, you got it.
So these work agreements, we didn't give out raises, they're all the same as last year.
Should be, yes.
What do you mean, what do you mean should be?
I mean, I'm a human being.
Oh,
Well,
all right,
it's-
well, I'm just saying, we got changes from this to
That's
that,
different.
we need to know what we're voting on.
So
Yeah.
it's all the same. And the $500, just to make this
Correct.
clear, is district money that we're giving away.
Correct.
It's not. So even with the 5 and the 7%, when people switch over. Like say.
Like they
5 to
are here
7,
longer, yes, absolutely.
That's all grant money, right?
Yeah, it's included in your fringe.
All these guys nodding yes, it's cool. Good. So the thing I asked you about. With the executive director,
Oh, yeah. That's the appropriations.
okay, I just wanna make sure, I didn't wanna try to bring up something later on.
We can bring it up later too.
Because in her agreement here, it says in the appropriation. Oh. Come on, this little.
Okay, go to your
There's a-
financial packet.
color.
It's your last. Yep, now go to the second to last tab.
Just before operations.
Yep,
think
that one,
that's it.
right there, you're on it. Nope. Nope. Go back. Other way,
The other way?
other way. So your second to last tab, pick that up. There you go, that one.
The colors aren't the
Okay,
same.
looking at executive director.
Yep.
So on the last time we talked, we took out, well, actually, we made this for everyone except the executive director. The executive director would make the decisions on travel and hotel and all that.
Yep.
Correct? Except now Natalie says it can be approved by the board or a board liaison. I don't think one person should. be-
Who's a board liaison? That's just
Yeah,
one
I just-
representative?
Yeah, I think it should be the board
Sounds good.
person.
I would agree.
So how do we make that change?
When we get to the appropriations
Oh, alright.
budget, you can make an amendment to approve it with that
Okay,
change.
that has nothing to do with our work agreement.
No.
So can I make a motion to approve the work agreements?
There's a motion on the floor to approve the work agreements. We just
okay.
discussed the work agreements.
Now we gotta vote.
If there is no more discussion, we will proceed to vote. Is there no more discussion? No more discussion. All those in favor of approving the work agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. They're approved. Now we got a rollover PTO vote.
So the policy says that every year the staff is able to roll over 80 hours of PTO. If the board votes yes on it,
We have to look at that every year. It has to be looked at, correct?
you have to vote on it,
Yeah,
yeah.
talked about that.
We have talked about updating that policy, in the coming months. I've talked to the finance committee about it a little bit as well. But obviously, there's no way we could get our ducks in a row for that today, so. That is what that item is.
But you had a good idea though. You did 40 hours.
Yeah, it was actually kind of Becky's idea.
Okay. Well, she took your idea.
It's fine.
But yeah, it's a solid idea. We can write it up in the HR committee and bring it to you. Basically just lowering the amount
Excuse me
of,
1 minute. Can I have a motion
sorry.
to approve the PTO hours? That's my fault. Sorry.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, let's discuss. Is there any discussion? We're halfway through it. So is there any more discuss? I'm sorry. I cut
That's
you off.
okay. No, I just wanted to tell Tim what we're talking about. You roll over 80 hours, you gotta use it by December, the end of December. And so at some point in the year, your staff is gonna have 0 PTO and not have any choice if they have some emergency. And I don't think that's fair or appropriate. So one thing that we read through the policy Becky recommended was, could we lower it and extend the amount of time that they have to use it, I believe is what your comment was. So that was what I,
So why does it have to be used by December? I don't follow that.
that's just what that's what your
That's what
policy is.
says.
That's
Yeah.
been
Roll
quite a
way
long
back
time, hasn't it?
into way before your time,
Yeah.
Rob Stein used to
Yeah.
like to roll us over for, he asked if we could
Yeah.
go past December because he snowmobiled. And he didn't use his vacation all year. So he wanted his for the winter vacation.
Okay,
But with October, you kind of.
But we gotta work with the policy we have today. We're gonna talk about maybe updating that to be more beneficial for the staff, but
Got it.
Our fiscal
that's what that
year,
is today.
our fiscal year is October, correct?
Yes.
So we're talking, the reason we're letting them roll it over so that so if somebody doesn't have PTO time. So our fiscal year, basically, we're letting them roll it over from October into December, correct?
September into October, have to use it by December.
By December. But theoretically, by December, they should have some PTO time accrued.
For the first quarter.
For the first quarter. So therefore, they've got their 80 or whatever they have.
Plus whatever they accrued, yeah.
Well, so therefore they won't have a
Zero.
zero balance.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just was trying to
theoretically.
get all the
It's very unclear. It just says
Yes.
use it.
Can we do this now or no? Do we
Can't do
need to go
policy?
through the HR to do that? You already came up with a good idea, I thought. when
It has
she
to be
told
a
us.
policy. We can't, we can't make that
Okay.
modification right now.
Right.
Well, that should be a real easy one to have on next month's agenda. Just saying, but, all right, back to this month's. So. There's a motion on the floor to approve rollover PTO time. Is there any more discussion?
Yes. Do we need to do that before October first? Because October first is a new year.
Yeah.
You can make a new policy anytime. Wait, what do you mean? Make the new policy before October 1st?
October first is the new year.
This is the last meeting of the fiscal year is
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Yeah, but they're, like
So when you go into October, you guys are stuck with the old rules.
but we update policy all the time. What do you mean?
Okay, I mean, what if we don't pass it?
Well, then we're stuck with the old rule regardless, so
Okay.
I mean.
All
you
right, I
don't
just
wanna-
thought,
No, is there, I don't know, is there a rule about that?
I'm not uncertain on that.
I am also now.
I mean, putting it off and just putting it off
I
into
usually
another
say-
year.
It's not
You wanna-
putting it off, it's literally, I didn't even have a meeting since we talked about it. I've not had
We
time.
wouldn't act in that regard until next year's PTO rollover, though, because the staff wouldn't have time to plan accordingly or whatever it might change in their planning purposes. If we change the policy
Yeah.
shortly in the near future, then we would apply that
So what
policy
if
at the
they're
end of
planning
next
on the old
fiscal
policy?
year.
Old policy says that they can roll it over.
Yes.
Current.
Only for
Current.
so much
to
time. though, right?
December, yep.
So they're gonna be burning up their vacation.
In the next couple months.
That's I mean, it's been the policy for every year, so.
The holiday season, not everyone has 80 hours.
I would say there's
That's
rollover.
also
but
super
doesn't necessarily
true.
have to be
Yeah, you
80
guys,
hours.
yeah, we saw it.
I guess you guys would have to talk internally with the staff and see what you want to.
I can do that and collect an opinion.
And HR committee, what, I like Becky's idea,
It's a good idea.
so.
We'll work on it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of rolling over PTO time, say aye.
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 That's a
Yeah.
tough one.
Think
Well,
that's-
we're all in favor of rolling over,
That's
but
a
we didn't
big
do
issue,
nothing.
but-
Yeah.
I get it, I get it, I get it. So-
That's what your policy says.
So, motion passes, sorry. Now we're on to financials. Financial committee meeting report. Doug, what's your report?
Well, we met on the appropriations budget. And Playground, Natalie did a good job on that, though. I mean, in the operations budget, she did a really good job, and it's tight on money. I mean, it's gonna be, I'm gonna say a twin to last year, to this year. I mean, 24 and 25 are gonna be the same. Don't you feel that way?
I feel they will be similar.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that every step we take to improve will help alleviate that pain. Yeah,
So we
I-
made it.
Quick question on that. Are we right now fully taking advantage of advances from MDARD grants that we can take advances from? You know, produce safety and all of that kind of stuff?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. We get advances for all of their grants.
Natalie's been doing a very good job shaking the tree.
She has, she's made a lot of cuts and a lot of suggestions and things she wants to do. And it's all positive, I mean, except for the cash flow. And it's not like we don't have money coming in, it's the cash in the pocket to spend. Because we need it, you know, for people's wages and things like that, and they're advanced. So it's gonna be a trying time on Natalie, but so far it's so good. Did we decide on the CPA?
No, I have spoken,
You
can't remember
went
if I
and
told you
said you
about
were gonna
this.
do it and put it in
No,
the budget,
I
and
have-
then you told me you're all set, but now it's like we're not all set.
I have a table of quotes that I've collected.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody does what we need them to do. Not everybody has gotten back to me. I've spoken to the state CPA, and she is authorized to help us for 5 hours with our IRS letters that we've received. I am hoping she doesn't think it's gonna take her that long. So I'm hoping that she can simply guide Annalise through what we need a CPA to do, because it doesn't actually sound like district taxes are that much from the people I've spoken to. And I already am familiar with, I've at least heard all of the tax form names at this point, so I do kind of know what's going on. But I'm thinking that she can help us through that. It won't cost us any money. However, I would encourage you to continue to keep that in the operational budget
It's in there right
because
now, the 8,000.
because I can't tell you that until I've spoken with the state CPA at length. Like that's not fair.
And
for
she's
me to
gotten
say.
letters from the feds asking for old, you know, records of us.
Half the forms
They're not as
were,
frightening as they seem. to the
Yeah,
Average
ha-
person. The
half the
IRS
forms-
letters happen on occasion and generally speaking
$6,000 last time,
in penalties or just
Both.
taxes that were not paid.
taxes and penalties.
You can write a fancy letter. A lot of times you get penalties forgiven.
half of the forms they requested are not forms that a conservation district has to fill out. Which I had to speak to our auditor to find that out. Yeah,
Takes time out of
absolutely.
your day.
But the other half were, and our auditor guided us through that, and she's the one that suggested that we look into a CPA. But I'm hopeful that the state CPA can at least point us in the right direction of what we should be asking and what we actually need. 5 hours, she thinks will go a long way, and that's free.
Here's my question, what have we been using for CPR? We haven't. So who's been doing our taxes?
Megan,
Megan,
Got it,
she's not here, no more.
I got it,
So it's all falling on Natalie.
yeah, that's
and
not her
it's a-
expertise
it's a
maybe.
load on her, and Annalise is, I'm gonna say new at it, but she's learning very well, and I think she's doing a great job.
Like I said, I think 5 hours with the state CPA is gonna
it's a good,
put you,
figure out what we need.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna put you on some, lot more solid footing,
I
so.
think so.
If it's helpful, I mean, I don't have a lot of expertise, but I have worked for a CPA. You know, I'm familiar with the payroll tax forms. If me sitting in and providing some bandwidth is helpful anyway, I'm happy to do that. I'm sure you and Annalise have it covered, but
No,
if that's helpful.
I appreciate that.
I'm happy to
It's,
do that, and I do know a couple of CPAs in town that maybe we could.
She's,
I can add them to my
Yeah.
table, actually, if you wanna give me their names. It's not our payroll taxes. Annalise is comfortable with
Okay.
that stuff. It's like more the end of year. We understand quarterly sales
Oh, right.
tax, but we just
SPW.
weren't sure what end of
Okay.
year entails. And so once we can get answers to that, I think we'll be a lot more comfortable.
Okay, yeah,
So I'm really hoping she can help.
but I do think that, you know, engaging with a CPA would be very valuable. if
I think
we-
so too.
And we're pretty deep into some reasonably complex bookkeeping that may have been beneficial to be set up, you know, in a different way earlier on, just to kind of avoid some of the
somebody-
things that are
Mhm.
occurring right now. Everything happens so fast that it's easy to look in the rearview mirror.
I need to find one regardless of if we hire them for taxes or not, because we need one to do our federal
Yeah.
audit. So while I've been calling, that's a column of if they do them, and unfortunately, a lot of them don't.
So
that's
I'm,
kind of a
well, I might at
challenge.
least give some recommendations
Please.
also for my folks if they don't do single audits or get involved in that.
Please, that would be very
I have a
helpful.
number of different, okay, so we can talk about that. So I
Yeah.
can provide you some resources there.
yeah, she's
Pretty
been
much.
fighting that one for a while.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
Yeah,
what we
the real
covered, right?
monkey on your back situation, it'd be nice to be
It's not as
I
bad
just
as it
wanna know
used
we're
to be.
good going
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
All right, any more
Things to keep you
questions
up.
of the finance committee report? That gives us up to the August bank reconciliation and payment.
Which you
section.
don't have the reconciliation, like I said, we can't do it until I speak with the auditor and she continues. I don't know if she's mid-process or what. I called her again today. I heard that.
It's okay. We'll make do.
But literally everything else should be there for you.
Has anybody got any questions with said information that is in front of us?
We did move the Ottawa County money for the water resources into that second savings account. And Natalie and Annalise are asking me to, and we did it once, but transfer money is needed. They don't payroll thing for 500 sometimes.
What's the advantage of that? They'll just.
So we didn't mix it all into one pot. 'Cause
That's
the
quite a lot.
problem. Yeah,
So
So we
so we
want
got two pots.
I think it helps you get a handle on what's district.
where it's going in, yeah.
We are working on a tracking form for that entire project too, that will show all of the money that has been advanced from the county for that project. For each line item, how much money has then been moved back into our bank accounts,
How much we
as
spent.
we sort of invoice our own project
Mhm.
and so on. So we'll be able to track all that stuff.
You got a lot of money in there.
Yeah, cause I mean, that first invoice for the county, 200,000 of that was for equipment for that, beginning of project purchases. And the largest amount of that was going toward a buoy and sondes and some other big equipment that has not been purchased yet. So it's a lot of money, but theoretically, that was all supposed to be spent up front. It just has not all the equipment has been purchased yet.
Because of the timing of the year, are you gonna purchase that this year?
Some will be, some won't. I mean, a big chunk of that is actually going to ODC, Outdoor Discovery Center. They're buying a buoy for Lake Mac. And then they're buying multiple sondes. And at this point, they're still working through the details on what they want on those, and it's gonna be a bit, so.
All right, well, any other questions on our financial standings right now? Here we go again. We needed a motion to pay the bills. Sorry, people, I'm missing it tonight. So can we get a motion to pay the bills? Well, is there support? Support. Is there any discussion? On said motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pay the man. Cash flow forecast, did we kind of half cover that with Doug's? Or do you need to?
I mean, kind of, it's the same document you guys see every month. It has that, every column is a different, beginning of a different week with your top balance, being how much you should have at the beginning and the bottom balance being how much you should have at the end minus. These are estimated expenses and estimated reimbursements. So it kind of helps us determine, if we're gonna run into a cash flow issue or not. And the different colors, the green is, we've received that reimbursement, yellow is we're waiting on it, and not highlighted just means we're estimating. That's not necessarily the final number we're gonna reimburse.
Any questions on cash flow forecast? Public comment on the budget? No public out there yet. Appropriation budget, may I have a motion to approve the appropriation budget?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
Is there any discussions on the appropriation budget?
Is this where I had my question?
Yep.
Okay. I would just like to. Under Natalie's description. To remove the liaison where one person can. Tell her what she can do.
That was the one we,
Yeah. no.
That we jumped
Yeah.
to. Mhm. And this is already has the dates, we did this one. But now. basically.
Is that very, so what, we would need to amend our motion because we want to make a change in said document?
Correct.
So the motion maker,
Me.
Doug? Or Becky? Who made that motion, Ben?
I moved, and so I will
Becky.
accept that change as a friendly amendment to my motion, so. If the supporter concurs, then we can make that change.
Do you concur with that?
I concur with you.
Oh, you're getting big words tonight. All right, so is there any other questions on the budget? Any other discussion on the
I
appropriations budget?
do have something
Yeah.
actually. So you'll notice in this this appropriations budget, there is a new line that's highlighted red. It's not red because it's bad. It's red because this is a funding stream we already have. I am getting to the end of the fiscal year. I don't think we're gonna spend all of it, and that is what we had projected. So I have added it into our appropriations budget so that we can continue to spend out of it. The grant ends in December, so it'll only be for the first quarter. And I didn't include any estimated indirect, because I didn't want to account for money we didn't have. Again, I wasn't totally confident how much we would spend.
You split up the higher, the service.
Yep. Service charges and donations.
Yeah. 'cause-
Yep.
Because it wasn't clear on what it all was, because we kind of took it was service. In our last budget, it was a lot of money. And it wasn't for people who were going out making, it was a combination.
It was
of
a lot
grants.
of things.
It was any cash flow that come in, that's where the money.
It wasn't grants, but it was
Not
like,
grants, but
yeah,
Any
it was
cash
a
flow
lot of
that
different
came in.
things.
And the problem,
But thrown in
again,
that.
government budgets is
So
they
we
have
didn't,
prescribed names of things and it
Yeah.
all goes into that bucket, so being able to. Pick that apart in a
so
profit and loss,
Natalie's
then that's
gonna
a
move it a little bit.
lot more informative.
And she reduced it down to 60 grand, I think you said.
I think it's 56 is what
Yeah.
service
Right.
charges are currently for receiving.
And that was a lot more.
Is there anything in the contributions from local units that is not county based? We have contributions from local units other than the county? Cause that's our 120 plus our water quality monitoring. Is
You
there
get 120
anything
plus
else
the water.
in there?
I don't think so.
Okay, I just was curious. I
No.
didn't know if we got anything
Not
from any
that
other
I
local
can
units
think
or any other support.
No,
I think we did.
that's a good question. I can't think of any.
The only other money we get is from state.
Yes.
Are we ready to vote? Rivka, you got anything you wanna pitch in here?
No major comments on the appropriations. Just a question about the full complete. Like that donations and services tab, what all that includes on that line item?
The charges for service and the donations, is that what you're asking?
Is that for is that under the income for the district?
Yeah. Yeah, so donations include, donations we get from Cultivating Resilience. It includes, donations that we receive just throughout the year, which till this year is very little, because we didn't really go out of our way. Charges for service include, the Strike Team at Cost program and the HWA at Cost program. We also charge to carry out, vegetation assurances, for people, looking for a permit to build on critical dune area. I'm trying to think if I'm missing one. I think that's it.
This is also in there, like, somebody gives us money for like the annual banquet. Is that in the
Sponsorships.
sponsorship?
Sponsorships.
Is that
Where do
in
those,
that?
uh,
I thought it was.
Those shouldn't be in oh, should they be? I don't know, where do sponsorships live?
That should be
Yeah.
considered donations, I would
Yeah.
think.
Sponsorship technically, but for this purpose, yeah, it's probably a donation, so that probably doesn't.
I had my computer, so behind this sheet, I actually think it would be cool for you guys to see it someday. Behind this sheet is another tab. And it has all of our state and federal funds broken down, into kind of like you see here. And then on one side, you have this top part broken apart alongside the expenses. And it would answer that question. Sure, if you want.
If you want.
So the answer is I don't know off the top of my head.
So that donations now, that's the truck fund in there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what that's gonna be is the truck fund and donations, that's gonna be carried forward, and then what you're estimating to add to it then for FY 25? Cause that'll be a balance.
No,
forward,
I don't
or-
think that is
is it
correct,
not?
actually, Tim. I don't think it is in the fiscal year 25 budget.
But it should be, right? Because we're not
should.
gonna extend that before the end of the fiscal year.
That, I mean, that's a item on the, that's a question on the agenda tonight. So, that is something that we will need to add in either to this year or next. Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely.
I wasn't sure where it was.
That's okay. I can look into that question and find the answer and email you guys if you want.
Well, are
It used to
we
be
get-
all just one column.
Are we getting ahead of ourselves? Do we need to look at budget for a new vehicle? Or before we
Tell me where to put the money. Yeah, maybe.
do the appropriations budget? I mean, I'm assuming. If we're gonna add to or take away from 25,
Well, we can amend it as we learn things. I mean, if we're passing what we think is a fairly quality, appropriations budget, we can pass it and move on. Then if we dial in on some things that go, okay, we need to amend this line because of X, we
but I
can, we
hate to
can make
amend
that
it. I
amendment.
hate to amend it at the meeting that we voted it in. Again, if it's,
What
but-
are we gonna decide on the truck?
well, the
piece right
next order of business is to budget for a new vehicle. Or truck fundraising or truck damage. I mean,
Yeah.
all that is gonna,
now? Will we spend
going
it
to
before the end of
affect
this-
the vote that's we're on right now.
Will we spend it before the
You
end?
got
of
a
the
whole
fiscal year?
month.
We think we might buy a truck by the end
That's
of the
what they
fiscal year?
thought.
I can give you that update now if you want.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor. So I guess we probably better,
Finish that. first.
let's finish that one. But like I said.
Can we not approve it and go back to it?
No, then we have to vote it down. I mean, this is relevant. I don't,
You
there's
want
no,
me to
I mean,
say?
it's relevant to the budget. I think that's an acceptable piece of discussion, don't you think? I
'Cause
mean,
then
it's
we
relevant to
could-
the appropriations budget.
Well, it ain't
With
oil,
that
but let's,
amendment.
okay, let's move to truck. Let's
You
move
ain't
to
what?
truck,
What'd you
but
say?
oil.
Oil?
As part
Cards.
of the discussion.
Or Robert or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
Robert's rules of order was buddies with oil. or-
Mr. Roberts wouldn't approve. Yeah.
So yeah,
We can
let's,
do it
I
either
guess
way.
let's
I just
go.
feel like it's relevant, so there's, I mean.
Does anybody got an objection to that? Let's go talk about the truck as it does reflect back to budget, so we will jump back to appropriations budget momentarily after we discuss truck fundraising.
Okay,
So,
first of all, I'm sorry, I didn't think about that at all,
That's right.
so.
so what do we?
Honestly, I don't know how this is supposed to look in the.
Yeah.
We literally have a motion.
Yeah, we do.
I'm gonna write this up. I mean, what my
I
point.
think we have to vote it down.
Well, my
and
point
then-
was we can discuss the truck as a part of the budget and we can go back to the truck vote later. But
Yeah.
we can we have the knowledge
If
of,
you know how you're gonna vote for the truck,
Okay,
you can make the decision on the appropriations budget
right.
I mean, can we just
Or-
talk about that?
and then just.
Or
vote
we
the truck
approve the
later.
appropriation budget and go back and amend it. Which is gonna be probably the cleaner, more proper way
Yeah.
of doing it.
Well, let's just do that then.
So let's, if there is no more discussion on the
Outside the-
appropriation
Okay.
Yes or
budget,
no?
there's a motion on the floor right now to approve said budget.
What is the motion to? Because it was amended. So the amended motion,
The motion isn't amended. I just accepted the change that Doug suggested that's being executed by
That was about
the executive
Natalie's
director
or
for removing
the
the board
liaison.
liaison
Yeah.
piece, so.
okay,
Do you need to see that?
So approve the appropriation
Motion
budget
to
as amended.
Approve appropriations budget as amended.
As amended, and this is our amendment,
Yeah.
the change there. Is everybody clear on that? The Natalie or the liaison,
Do you need to see it?
well, he's drafting it right now.
I think
He needs to know what the draft, right? You gotta put that language in them.
And steal this from them.
Yeah.
You see the executive director has that right on the last part. If you just take out board and they sign.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna make a note of it.
You tell us when you're ready, Ben.
Yeah, gotcha.
No pressure, but just,
Do you want to talk about the operations budget before you approve the appropriations budget? That is allocating operational funds.
no, it's behind the vote. Almost,
Well, it's like a subheading.
all right, let's hear. I
This
think.
is the operational budget.
Good.
So you'll see in your appropriations budget, you have that operations line item that's indicating how much you're gonna expend. That number is made up of, the 120 you get from the county, we get from the county. And estimated indirect costs that I also use the same sheet to calculate, but it doesn't look the same. Obviously, when I add in how much we're gonna spend in indirect in that line. You'll see on this sheet, you have, it's, I don't know if yours is
Yeah,
colored.
this one. right?
Yep, that one. Okay, good, yours is colored, mine's hard to read. The 2024, so this is what our operations budget is currently.
Okay.
Sure. And the 2025 is the proposed operational budget. Some things I would like to draw your attention to. We have cut some costs, but unfortunately, because of the situation we're in, we have also had to add line items. So you'll notice things like supplies, vehicle repairs, electronics, mileage, food and team building, those things got reduced in the efforts of trying to assist in cash flow issues. But because we have to do that federal audit, we had to add in a line item to pay for that in our operational budget. The same with our CPA, how we were talking about potentially doing that. And there was one other one, QuickBooks. You'll see is a new line item that I couldn't figure out where that had been accounted for in the past. I did redo some of this math, so you'll notice some numbers have changed to what we actually spend on those things. And I added in that QuickBooks line item as well, and that should be at the most expensive cost.
So that's a yearly annual fee for QuickBooks?
We pay one annual fee and then we pay monthly to run payroll through them.
And we got like a discount when we first got into the new one
Yep,
last.
it was half off. And I even asked, do we have to pay a subscription every month? And she said no to me.
Got you later.
I'll never forget
Her
forgive me
pants
for
were
that.
on fire.
That made me so upset.
Okay, so
Anyway, besides the
here's my
point,
question, the 24 vehicle equipment repairs, that's a hard number, or that was an estimated number?
that's your estimated. So just because you budgeted it, we didn't, doesn't mean you spent it. We spent a fraction of the vehicle repairs because
Okay.
those are.
Well, that's
newer
my
trucks.
concern,
No,
because we-
totally fair question. No, I showed you last month the budget versus how much we had spent out of it. So that would be like how much you've
Got
actually
it.
spent. This is just, I was just trying to give you an idea of what you budgeted in the past.
Thank you.
Yes, and you'll notice job hosting software I removed entirely. Are there any other questions
Got
about
hired
it?
for a while,
She increased like.
We
the
done a bunch.
insurance and
Sure.
stuff like that.
Yeah, we done a bunch in the last 18 months.
Yeah. And vehicle-
All right, so are we back to the appropriations budget? Is there any question on the operations budget? Sorry, before we. Or any questions for Natalie and how she placed these numbers?
I've talked to him 100 times.
Hmm. I have something else to say. I'm sorry. And then hopefully these last two things I'll be done making mistakes. What if we put the vehicle purchase in the operational budget? Since the district is paying for it, does that make sense?
The operation versus the appropriation.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, well-
asking.
I think so. It will go in there.
I don't know, does that go, should that be in donations where I account for that, or should it go in the vehicle down payment? Cause we have a vehicle down payment from last year. That's where it was put, and so I'm wondering, should I be putting it there, or should I be putting it in donations?
I would
Ask
offer
your
that
CPA.
a lot of these account numbers and account names are set forth in
Right.
district guidance, so
Right.
that it should be defined somewhere which bucket that goes in.
That, like
whether-
a truck purchase specifically, you mean?
Well, vehicles, capital
Sure.
equipment, assets, you know, whatever that might be.
Okay,
is
I kind of suspect it should be
So that should be defined somewhere. so
in
we should-
here, if it's
I
in here,
agree with
but
you.
I can find out for certain.
And I think that's somewhere, isn't it? Like all these,
There's a schedule,
Yeah,
yes, there's
okay.
a schedule.
and that's why some
but
things look weird, like the fee
operations-
for services and all the things that go in that, because it's all prescribed by the state. and
Right,
That's why those are like
correct.
nonsensical in many cases.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where did you put the $6,000 you got?
The truck that is in donations currently. The truck fundraising,
Not fundraising, the insurance money.
I think that actually, I would have to ask Annalise, to be honest.
Mm.
She's not here right now, but I suspect that it probably went into insurance.
Don't look at me.
You were looking at me.
I keep
In
getting
the-
shut down.
in
I
the
wanna
short-
I wanna vote.
Yeah, in the short term operations, I think is
It's
fine.
fine,
And
okay.
then we can refer back and maybe we
Yeah.
go through, and once we get some, you know, guidance from a CPA and we relook at this, maybe we can make a budget amendment, you know, to clean things up a little bit if needed.
Yes,
It's
Um,
there. We just need
Yeah,
to
we just
put
need
it
to.
in the right
sort
spot.
it out, yeah.
we
Well,
also,
budget amendments are pretty common, to be honest, too.
Right, if you don't do a budget amendment, then you're probably doing something wrong.
Right,
generally
you're
speaking.
probably not paying attention to your
Right,
budget.
exactly, yeah.
We didn't do too many last year.
we
Yeah.
also have another revenue source that I was just reminded of that happened like very recently. And MACD is currently paying our bookkeeper to paying for some of her hours to do some work for them. Because they had a bookkeeper pass away, and it put them in a pinch, and we had the expertise to help, so we did,
That's
and
nice
they're
that I
paying
know
us
they're
for it.
doing the things good.
It literally is so just happened. So I will also need to add in that revenue somewhere. Well, I guess it would
Fee for
probably,
services.
yeah, we could do that,
Well, that's
and
how
then
you
I
do it.
could remove,
Because Annalise will move into a full-time employee. How many hours she working for?
she's still working 25. So they're like basically paying for some of her wages and everything, yes.
Gotcha.
For clarification on that one, basically, Lynette Ginter, our bookkeeper at MACD, like 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, passed away completely unexpectedly. And so I reached out to a bunch of districts and said, does anybody have capacity just to run payroll and do checks, which is like very, very minimal. We're talking like 1 hour a week, maybe, if that, because, you know, we don't have that much payroll. We don't have that many checks. We have maybe 10 checks a year that goes out. Also, which, Becky, is why you haven't gotten your state council reimbursement yet, because we can't reissue the check because we haven't been able to write checks.
I'm not
And
worried.
yeah, good.
Mm.
So basically, while we look for a longer term solution, it's not any of like the accounting things or the bigger stuff. It's literally just making sure our employees get their check and
Can only do what I
Gonna
can
shut your
do.
door.
Okay, thank you.
When you hang your shingle, you have to.
Yeah, you guys ain't.
Well,
they're
next
doing
time,
that cost.
I will ask you to help me put together a fee for the service.
That's not hard.
Okay,
That's not hard. That's what I do for a living.
All right, so where are we at, people? I'm
That's a
confused.
good question, Mr. Chair. Will you let me know when you?
We
figure it
were,
out?
we were.
I'm
talking
sorry, I
about
made
this.
it really bad.
No, not at all.
We have
Either
a
this is how we
sidetrack.
figure things out that need to be tweaked. That's why you have.
So Ben, we have a motion.
We have
on
a
the floor.
motion.
So would
Sitting
you
on the
read, would
floor.
you read that amended motion back to us?
And how long has it been on the floor?
The motion is to approve the appropriations budget as amended. Now, right now, I just have notes in there about what was changed about the original appropriations budget.
Taking out the liaison idea.
Yeah, so the wording just says appropriations budget as amended.
Can I not like that for a second? Sorry, even though I did it. Can
Well,
I-
we should have it wrote a little more out what we've,
What the change.
what the
Yes, let
change
me-
was, so that there's.
Yeah,
I
let me
don't know.
do the motion, to approve the fiscal year 25 appropriations budget contingent upon revising section, whatever it is, executive director. Well, to remove the board liaison, you know, whatever it is you've got there, so just contingent on,
Section
Revising that.
6, executive director description, remove.
Or- yeah.
Board liaison.
Remove that.
board liaison, yes, quotes, thank you.
Gotcha. Got it.
Ladies sakes, yeah, I feel better, I don't like using the word amended in there, we didn't do anything to the numbers, it just makes it murky.
Being an attorney to write notes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Does everybody know what they're voting on?
Yes, I think so.
All right, Becky, how do you vote?
Aye.
Tim? Doug?
Yes.
I vote yes. Phew, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Now we can jump in. Now the operation budget has been discussed. Do we need to go back there?
Don't we gotta make a motion to approve it?
Approve what?
Operation budget?
It's not.
There's
separate from
no-
appropriation.
You know.
This detail you wanted to discuss, right, Natalie?
Okay.
I thought so, but I guess I don't know what you've done in the past.
It's just a subcategory.
I think, yeah.
All of those numbers are included in the appropriations budget, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
So,
Okay, we're good.
So let's jump then to, well, we ain't jumping. We're up to truck fundraising update.
Okay. My update is that we closed our fundraiser and we raised around $6,120. We received $6,279 from the insurance agency, which brings the theoretical budget to $12,399 for a new vehicle. We have asked some dealerships and started compiling a list with information. We have not gotten any real numbers from them yet. We reached out to Grand Motors. They did not have an applicable vehicle. Denoyer, thank you, Chevrolet said that they would call if something came in. Their Barber Ford tried to push a truck on us, but we had discussed briefly not necessarily needing to purchase a truck if we can't afford it. And that maybe something, just a large car would be fine. And Todd Wenzel said that they were eager to help. They're currently inspecting 3 SUVs for us that might fit the bill, but they have not, again, not given us any numbers. I also heard from a local business that has a truck that is a 2022 that they are willing to sell to us for cheaper and provide the remaining cost that they're asking for the truck as a donation.
What are you talking about, Mike?
What's that?
So they were gonna sell you a truck for less,
Less,
a truck that was worth more than 12,000, but charge us 12,000 for it and
Correct.
write the rest off.
I don't know if that's allowed. I'm working on finding out that answer for them. And I
Okay.
don't know if they would offer considering our budget, but it's something that I've been reached out to about.
are you able to share who the business is, or is that not
I don't know, I guess I didn't ask that
That's fine.
question.
I was just curious.
I probably should ask that
Chevy
question.
dealer, that's right.
Who give you the information? How do you know about it?
Preferred.
They
That's
reached
where we
out
bought our
to me.
trucks from. We
Yeah.
bought our, sorry, we bought our trucks from Preferred. I have the guy's name.
Okay,
The owner of the place actually helped Megan and I get the financing for the third truck because we couldn't do it and they helped out to get it
okay,
and gave us a really good
I
price.
can reach out to them as well.
I'll get you the name,
Sure.
but
I got a question.
Okay, so for said truck that your local business has offered to you,
Right, I don't know if they're willing to move forward with our budget. This was a conversation I literally had yesterday.
I
So
think you
I,
should check that out.
yes,
Yeah,
I
but-
agree, I agree. But that's all the vague information I have currently.
Yeah,
My question
Yeah.
before, what are we doing for a vehicle today? Are we leasing one? Are we doing without one? Are we
No.
buddying up or?
We're just doing what we can with our three. And luckily, we got all three trucks back and the strike team is now done for this, it's the end of the season. So,
So we're
they
not in need of a truck till spring?
pretty much,
Okay.
I don't think. But that's where we're sitting.
Would it be worth
So-
investing and not paying insurance on a vehicle until spring? Is that where you're going to?
what do you do with
No,
all
but-
your donations that you just ask people for a vehicle?
No, but what I'm
still be in
what
the
I'm saying is, let's
dedicated
not make a hasty decision if we don't need the truck. Check out your options.
That's totally fine. I was just trying to start gathering information. Yeah.
See, we talked in the finance committee meeting about this, and this is my feeling is to give her the green light to purchase a vehicle for a certain amount. But for me, as we got 12,000, I'm saying give her a green light to buy one for 10 because you got insurance, plate, we don't have any extra money to blow on this thing. So give her a set budget of, I'm saying 10. And then the other money can go towards plates and insurance and whatever else you need. That was my thought. So if they find a vehicle, they can go buy it. Instead of waiting to another meeting, I mean, they ain't gonna wait. People are gonna first come, first serve. And like you said, we're not desperate, so they can be smart on what they do.
let's do this. The next item of business is we need to have a motion. Maybe someone would make that motion, to spend $10,000 on a truck, I'm not sure. If we've kind of already got the fundraising update.
Mhm.
So if we could get a motion, Doug, for, said number. And then we can go into discussion on how to pull the trigger on.
Okay, I'll make a motion to buy a new vehicle.
Different view.
We're not getting a new one, but we're getting new to us,
New to us.
yes.
I'm gonna say use, cause you ain't buying one for 10 grand. For 10,000, using the donation money and the insurance money. And what's left over goes for that vehicle, for plates and anything else, taxes.
I support that, but I have a question.
Sure.
If Natalie can.
Hang on, okay, there's a motion, is there support for that motion? And then we'll.
Then we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll support the motion.
All right, been moved and supported, You with me, Ben?
Yeah.
Perfect. Is there any discussion, Tim?
This is a question, if Natalie can buy the vehicle she's talking about for 11 or 12,000 and they're willing to donate the, let's say it's a $15,000 vehicle, do we hold her to the 10,000 if we can upgrade the truck?
I guess you could come back to, I'm gonna
You
say,
follow me?
finance committee or the board meeting.
Do you follow what I'm saying?
I like it, yeah, I mean, I think,
I agree there. I agree with that, but I mean, yeah, or she comes, sits around the 10 grand and say, hey, I can't find nothing.
Right?
We're gonna do something else, raise a little more money and do something else.
Here's another
This
question.
is just giving you freedom to do what you want.
Yeah, do some, yes, but do we need a pickup?
No, she's saying.
That's what
I
I'm
say we're not
saying.
crazy in need of one until next spring.
Well,
No, but
that's what I'm saying is I think that we could get away with probably a large car of some kind if we were put in that position.
I'm just
I
thinking like
think
a
a truck would
minivan.
be ideal. But I don't think we don't have to do that if we can't afford it. I wouldn't put us in a bad spot to do it, if that makes sense. A minivan,
Becky likes
that's
something.
a thought.
Go.
They're cheap, that's why that's where I'm going.
All right, so the motion is to spend up to 10 grand. She don't have to ask, she just, if she wants to go out and, if she can find one for that.
I mean,
She
these
knows
are-
that she can, if this other deal comes around where
I got.
she can go 12 and
Wouldn't it
then,
be wise to run that by a board member or the?
I would say finance,
Finance
I mean, like I say, I think if
Yeah,
she
okay.
finds something
Doug's
other
been
than her
involved.
$10,000 limit. Bring it back to the finance committee,
I don't
if
know what
it's,
you can
if it's
buy.
very hot, I mean, we can, yeah, wow.
Well, you can buy them, but I'm not sure.
The motion says she's got up to 10 grand to spend, she knows what she can do with it. Ben don't need to write
That's
all
what it
this.
says right now.
It's
Yeah.
like, this is what the
Ben-
motion says.
no, Ben, we're going with a $10,000 vehicle. Natalie knows she can come back to us if she strikes out there.
Perfect.
So we went from, so that's the motion, correct, Ben?
Yep.
All right, is there any more discussion on said motion?
Are you guys okay with that? I mean, I don't know what to do. Can't blow money we don't have
Well, yeah.
for other money.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think right now, we don't need, as has already been discussed, another truck or anything, and we also, all of our grants have mileage too, so if we, you know, in the past couple months, a few of us have had to use our cars, but we get mileage for it, it's not the end of the world, so.
So is
Morgan's
it,
put a lot of
is
miles
this,
in her car, though.
Yeah,
is it not prudent to wait till spring till we need a truck? Is that a
I
ding
don't
to the donors?
I don't think that we need to like drag our feet.
Just watch
and
for the
wait
right
till
deal,
spring,
yeah.
But I don't think we need to be stressed about it either.
having this passed, yeah, just gives us that opportunity to start looking and.
Yeah,
Is there a certain employee that's
Yeah,
always
that's
driving their car where they're probably not liking it?
she doesn't say anything, but Morgan
Morgan?
drives her
Morgan?
car a lot. She's got a massive service area. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
In
she's,
June or July and August, I put 1,500 miles on my car. Which is
We took the
fine, cause I
state
get
program, why don't we have?
Yeah, you get a reimbursement, yeah.
What happens to the mileage in the grants when you use
She said state,
vehicles,
right?
district
Have
vehicles?
Jack
Does
leave
the
his car.
reimbursement just go to the district? to
Yeah.
offset
Well,
that?
Yeah, the
You don't
the
get that
mileage
here
is
either.
reported the same,
It doesn't matter which bucket it goes in.
Yep.
And it's the same, right?
He's saying you should get a state car for the entire.
yeah, you can go ahead and
Yeah.
call them about that.
I don't know.
We're not MDR employee, we're not allowed to drive at MDR.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're
Oh.
not.
I would be
State.
yelled at.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting back to what the motion here is.
Okay.
So we got the $10,000 and Natalie got an idea what she can and can't do.
Yeah.
So that's what we're voting on. It has been moved to spend that. So a yes vote means yes, you're for it, or no means no dice. So all those in favor, say aye.
Alright,
Opposed? Natalie, you know what you gotta do.
Okay.
All right, getting a little long, so we're gonna zip through what grants are you preparing for?
Currently, the only grant that we have being prepared is a grant to continue management for European frog beds in the SISMA's 7-county service area. One of the exciting things about this grant is Ottawa County Parks has found a EFB infestation near some wild rice, which is a very important species to our tribal partners as well as just our community. And this grant will allow us to assist them in managing it and putting on some educational workshops for the community.
Cool.
And it is not adding anything, it's just sustaining.
And you got some that are pending.
Yep, that actually is outdated as of today. I signed one that I've been waiting on for months. No offense to our Great Lakes Restoration Initiative partners. I signed our agreement for hemlock woolly adulted treatments today. So we're executing those, and I don't know that we've heard back on Midwest Glacial Lakes.
That
We
one's
get
gonna
that. No,
be
it's
a
gonna
while.
be good.
And NIFWIP will also be a while.
Executed.
I skipped, I'm sorry. We executed the GLRI. I'm still waiting on landscape scale restoration. However, I got confirmation they have everything they need. And Ben, do you want to give up an update on 319?
Yeah, I mean, we officially have the Sand Crockery Phase 2 grant, which is another 600K for those two watersheds. We did also extend our Sand Creek Phase 1, so that's actually extended till the end of next fiscal year, and then, so essentially in Sand Creek, we'll have funding for another 2-3 years, so we're good. Lots more cover crops, all the good stuff.
I have a comment on the crockery grant. I'd just like to express my displeasure with the Board of Commissioners for holding a discussion item during a board meeting on the Crockery Creek project and did not invite anyone that is close to the project. They invited a person who, to my knowledge, is not well respected in the industry. They're discussing doing an algal treatment and funding that to the county and circumventing all of the good work that other entities are doing. And I just thought that was really bad form on the part of the county commission.
Was this the finance commission meeting or
Board
board
was
meeting?
at finance and administration.
We,
I think I read.
we are,
I heard about that.
we are gonna be preparing an email to the Board of Commissioners, just as an informational sort of like, hey, we know this discussion happened, all these talks about Crockery Lake, because the person that presented, she did talk a lot about funding sources. She even mentioned non-point source funding, 319 stuff, as if there was not currently a grant in that watershed, which there was. So we are gonna provide them with an email and just kind of remind them of the things that are literally currently happening in that watershed.
Saying a
So-
past friend of ours, is it?
No, it's actually, it's.
I was
wondering
watching the
same.
meeting online and quickly scanning the audience to see who was in the room, and that was not a face. that
I think that would
So,
be prudent. I mean,
And it's not gonna be, you
yeah,
know,
shame on you, but just a, hey, heads up.
yeah,
No, I-
it
I
probably
think-
too
certainly
strong
won't
in my
be.
comments. I was just very
Yeah.
taken aback to be,
We
observing
were
that
too.
meeting and
Well,
it caught my
typically
ear
how our
watching and
new board
I thought-
functions, so.
Yeah.
how does this? how does this
I will
happen?
say, I've noticed, on our online, like on Facebook, people have been discussing, like we posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago that we received our new grant. And we've seen a few people sharing that in response and kind of
I
related to
did
that
see a
discussion
couple
too.
of Places too, yeah.
Mhm.
So
So
I
there's
just-
been people talking
I'd
about
love to
it.
bring that to the board's attention that I just.
I'm not real
found
familiar.
disappointing.
What really is the problem with Crockery Lake? Algae?
A lot of algae,
Lot of-
yeah, lot of nutrients, a lot of
A lot of
phosphorus.
nutrients,
Yeah.
and this particular speaker was, kind of, in my opinion, kind of gunning for the agricultural community, which I think was somewhat inappropriate. There's a lot of septic issues up there. There's a lot of non-point source inputs that are in there, and it was a little bit imbalanced. So anyway, I just
Infiltrated with, what is it, non-native species, what's the
invasive.
invasive species,
No.
but there hasn't been any
It's-
sightings
It's
lately.
poop really more than
Yeah.
that, so,
Is
yeah.
Poop more than gators?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
that's
the
probably-
gators.
So let's both.
That's property.
Oh,
Yet to
alright,
be
And they didn't find them yet.
alright,
So I just want to make that comment.
alrighty, brings us up to board updates. 2 minutes, Tim,
Well, the next one.
Doug,
I got some. Besides all the financial stuff, I do wanna ask something. In our board reports, somebody wrote their trucks were broke, wheel bearings or something. We have warranties on them vehicles.
Yep, they're
Okay, same.
expired. We don't
We've
have,
got over 30,000 on them.
we don't have warranties on them anymore. He's
Okay.
well aware that we have warranties. We've used them, so they're close to advantage. There was a line item called truck damage, because I wanted to talk about, some of the damage that has come to our field vehicles. I know that some of you noticed, yeah, he brought it up. And we, for example, somebody was driving through a field, and the side of the truck got swiped on a field visit in an orchard. This is something that, we looked at having fixed. It's not necessary to have it fixed. It was like $500. And so, Will, who's used to be a mechanic, made sure that it wouldn't rust. He made sure it was sealed out and, I made the decision to not repair it. And because that was a day-to-day maintenance decision, I didn't think to bring it to you. If you would like in the future, I can continue to bring these things to you, but if I'm being so honest with you, it didn't cross my mind. And I'm sorry for that.
So. No, it was just, to me, it was a surprise that a brand new vehicle had wheel bearings.
Correct.
I think that's
How many
what they
miles
said,
an
but
hour?
I did have, like in mine, it was, I don't know, CD joint, I think you call it. Well, mine,
Yeah.
that was pretty expensive.
Remember which one
We,
it was?
no, we got it fixed real cheap though, because we bought the part and Haven Automotive agreed to put it in for us and just charge us for labor.
Yeah. Okay. But personally,
Sounds like you
I
got
would pick-
connection.
personally, I
Haven
would fix
Automotive,
a
we
$50,000 truck.
used to get all of our junk trucks fixed through them, and so they love us. They will
They
do
feel
it,
so
they will
bad
do
for us.
anything
They're
for us.
back again.
I'll add too, I think the vehicle that had the wheel bearing issue was was the vehicle that the HWA crew drives a lot, so they drive far, they drive a lot. And so one thing that Will has done is we've switched, so now HWA crew is driving a different vehicle and we're trying to switch them up so that that's not one vehicle getting all the
Yeah.
mileage. So that's something.
Not always easy terrain too. I mean, they're driving down.
It's their, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I missed right over truck damage.
That's
Is there anything else?
Did too, that's my
Well,
fault.
I just thought of
Thank you for
that,
saying something,
you know,
because I would have forgotten completely that I said I'd mention
And
it.
it just kind of, when I read it over,
Yeah,
trucks breaking already?
They get driven a lot.
Becky,
Yeah, I think I covered a lot of my comments earlier, along the way. I think I just, as a board member, want to comment on. I still need a greater understanding of so many things because the district has grown so much. I have a pretty great understanding from my past history, but it's grown in so many ways. And I'm trying to find the balance between how granular do I need to understand things and how high level do I need to understand things to be effective and helpful? So I'm still trying to find that balance. I do know
We
enough to
all
know that, what?
We all are.
I do know enough to know that, I think there's probably gonna be some tough sledding ahead of us. And I wanna just, I don't know, I just hope we can be positive and all work together as we try to solve this. I mean, the bottom line is, there's a lot of amazing people doing some amazing stuff and board members who have given so much, blood, sweat and tears bringing this district to where it is, and I'm just hopeful that that can go really well. I think. That's all I got at this time.
Oh, you're done. You said you're good, right?
Yeah, oh, and I did comment on the local working group earlier. I don't know if everybody heard it, but the staff did a really good job of pulling that together, and I think we came up with some really good points we can bring up and push up to NRCS and maybe achieve some more funding for things that really matter to Ottawa County. So that I think was a pretty effective group for what you were handed. So good job, Tracy, and everybody that worked on it. That's it now.
Yep.
So I have a question. This is coming in the farm magazines. And it's in our neighborhood. There's some farm ground that we've been farming for 25, 30 years.
And
We don't
it's
own it.
windmills or,
No, solar.
okay,
yeah,
I've heard, I don't know, that the state of Michigan put in a regulation now that the local ordinance cannot stop it.
Technically, that's true. I have some knowledge on that. And if-
How
when it
do
comes
we
right
as
down-
farmers or local communities push back if we desire?
There is a petition, citizens for, I don't remember what it was,
Can you send me that link?
Yep, and I can connect you with Charles Gould. He's really kind of your go-to guy on all things solar from a very pragmatic and functional standpoint. I can also send you some resources on that actual law, but really the bottom line is they make it very, very, very tricky to keep that control at the local level and have it be functionally different than if the state did it themselves. Really, is kind of the bottom line. You can keep it at the local level, but the ordinances make the project look just like they would if the state controls the project. There's some funding tied to it.
So are we as farmers, I can't compete with this.
It's it's a huge issue, and trying to, sell voltaics and farming under solar are tough sells. I believe that
And when you
it's,
got dairy cows, it's solar don't fit.
right, so, and it's a tough one, every farmer has to do what they want with their own land and make their financial picture work, and it might work for some farmers.
But
And
it's
so
not,
land
it's not the
relief
farm
or
owners that's
whatever.
it's inborn. They're just looking as a money pot.
It's the what?
It's the people I lease from are signing up, not me, not the farmers. It's the
The
landowners.
landowners,
Yeah,
yes, I know.
and they
yeah,
look at it as a money pot.
Right, I wish that there was. a
I
way
can't
that-
compete with this.
Yeah, I wish that we had a way to have, work with the solar companies had like the scruples to be more thoughtful in where they site, or if we could incentivize.
Put them in the desert in Arizona. That's where they belong. That's
Right,
where
well,
the sun shines every
Yeah,
day.
but that's not where it's the cheapest and closest to the infrastructure.
Correct.
That's where they site, so it's too expensive to put it over top of existing infrastructure, so. It's a tough deal, and I think being vocal about it as much as you can, along with everybody else.
Consumers are investing in it right now. Feds just came out with a
Here's-
living grants.
Here's the thing though, this is the only thing that I kind of brings me some comfort is consumers has estimated that to meet their goals in their portfolio, they need like 80,000 acres of farmland statewide. Okay, so say DTE needs that same number. And say the cooperatives need a similar number. Okay, so or 160, let's say 500,000 acres. Being generous statewide, we still have just south of 10 million acres of farmland. Is that the worst threat?
No, but it all adds up,
It,
Becky.
it does.
It's
I'm not
housing, it's-
discounting it. I'm just trying to make myself feel better about, okay, is that at least not a house? Yes, yeah, I'm just mentally trying to make myself feel a little bit better about the threat and focus on what the real threats are. And the real threat is conversion to housing to a different use that is really a few hops farther from agricultural land than solar really
You think
is.
they'll ever go back to agricultural land?
We don't know that.
It's all about money.
Everybody
It's
says
all
that.
about money.
And about.
Everybody says that, but we
You
don't
can
know
go
that.
in and put a big solar field in and line up all them solar panels right down some farmer's field.
Mhm.
But you could also spend a lot more money and put them on top of buildings like Tim
Which is what we-
suggested at one time.
Which is what
Can
we
I
love.
jump in on
we
this
love to see.
whenever? Some additional context on this. So Tim, I would encourage, in addition to what Becky's saying, as far as individual farmers and landowners making their voice heard is important. This is something that we can take action on as a board as well, if we wanted to create a resolution internally within Ottawa CD and bring that up the chain. This is something not only with,
We brought it up before, no, they didn't get much traction, but I'm open to that idea.
but I don't think we've ever passed a resolution specifically about this, because if we
Lester
pass,
brought it up.
Yeah. Do we wanna get?
Who pens that,
in
Rivka?
politics like that? And
well, I mean, it sounds like Tim should.
I'm not
And
involved.
basically, one of the board members has to take it on, but from a bigger picture solar standpoint, it's not just ag, it's forests. Because right now, there's a big push on DNR. They're trying to approve 130,000 acres of state forested land for approval for deforestation for solar panels, which to me is just a travesty upon travesty. So it's this was something I was going to bring up during my 2 minutes. We are definitely, like, at the MACD level, actively trying to talk to districts about who can drive forward some resolutions on the solar issue, both related to ag land as well as related to deforestation. Because if we collectively can start creating those resolutions and passing them and get enough support statewide, we can actually make a pretty good case to Lansing to get some additional regulations sent. But when it's just individuals, it makes it a lot harder. When we start, working collectively together, it makes a big difference.
Lead the charge, will you?
They already got a plan what they wanna do, so we would have to come up with an alternative plan.
Why don't you roll right into your 2 minutes then, Rivka?
So yeah, resolutions, Tim, it sounds like you have a lot to like, write a draft. I would just literally say write a draft about what your concerns are, bring it to the board, and that would be a great point of discussion, and we can work on then moving it to the regional level and then to the state level. Other than that, you know, I'm really actively working on making sure that we're maintaining and advancing our funding. I do want to say, I guess, hopefully a word of encouragement. The cash flow issue is kind of ubiquitous among districts. So the good news of that is that means that there is a lot of pressure on the state, on NRCS, to try to find solutions for this so that districts are not stuck in these cash flow problems of not being able to progress and take on additional programs because of nothing other than cash flow. So that's something that's actively being worked on at the state level. And yeah, I'm just running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But other than that, that's all I got.
All right.
Other than to say thank you for your indulgence of me just being on Zoom today. Like I said, I'm up north. I could have come back, but it would have involved me driving 3 hours up and 3 hours back, and then 4 hours up tomorrow morning and 4 hours back. So thank you for your indulgence to not make me do that and still let me participate in the conversation. So
All righty. Drive safe.
thanks.
I really don't have, I got meat this past month.
You got meat?
Finally, after 7 years or something,
Wow,
the darn thing is
congratulations, Matt.
Saw a lot of good
hundreds
comments on.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, it seems. So, yeah, so we're just gotta figure out now how I can get my sign up.
How many steps or what steps are you in? Pharmacist or what?
I've got everything but the crops. So. What is there?
Farm shed.
Do it the hard way first, huh?
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
said first.
yeah. Livestock and farmstead is the steepest. So, but yeah, so. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. So yeah, but that's kind of my big moment in the sun.
I heard some really good things about your operation as well. There's really positive feedback. I think you said you're doing great things.
Saw a lot of good comments on Facebook too.
Thank you much. No, it's been, like I say. I sat in one of these meetings, I think 7 or 8 years ago, and I was on the Farm Bureau board and I was on this board, and no one on any of the boards were meat verified, so I was like,
Yeah, we mentioned.
maybe we are.
No one was in the program.
No one was in the program, so that's what kind of, I guess, lit a fire underneath me to do it. But no, it's been a long time coming, and the way our farmers went, we are definitely gonna use it for a sales point, you know, and the people we sell to are very conscientious of the environment, so yeah, we're gonna, you know, it's a selfish, yet, you know, we did it for a lot of different reasons, but it got done and we're moving forward.
I just went over there.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, but with that said, no PA 116s.
Nope.
So next meeting is the 8th of October. Is there a motion to adjourn? So move. Support? All those in favor, say aye.
We
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
I need money transfer.